Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 46 of Takeaways. My name is Jordan Brooks. I'm a senior market analyst with ALN Apartment Data, and I wrote this month's newsletter article entitled Demand Improving for Stabilized Properties. And the newsletter article really discussed sort of a high-level look at what's going on with stabilized properties, especially from the perspective of demand and rent performance. So we looked at absorption trends in the article for stabilized properties and rent performance in recent months as well. Some general high-level takeaways there included the fact that demand is improving on a fairly widespread basis for stabilized properties so far this year relative to 2022 and 2023. The rent performance data is a little bit more muddled. It's not quite as clean of just a solid upward trend, but there were some positive takeaways there as well. In particular, looking at occupancy trends within stabilized properties, and then also what's been going on with lease concessions. Starting first with occupancy. Occupancy for stabilized properties has come down quite a bit from the peak over the last couple of years. There was a peak in occupancy in late 2021 of about 96% for stabilized properties. Over the last 24 months, we've seen a decline of about 250 basis points. So we're down at about 93% now as of the end of April for average occupancy for stabilized properties. This year, though, so far, 2024, January through April, we've seen a little bit of a turnaround on the occupancy front. Not a huge gain, but a 10 basis point gain from the start of the year. So again, not a huge improvement there, but the first 4 months of both 2022 and 2023, we saw negative movement in stabilized occupancy. So that is at least a step in the right direction that we've seen so far in 2024. And then another interesting note on occupancy is from the price class perspective. So we've seen occupancy remain fairly tightly grouped across the price classes for stabilized properties. Basically, all four price classes are between 92 and 94% average occupancy, again, as of the end of April. So pretty tightly bunched there in terms of those averages. And then in terms of change since the start of 2024, only Class D has lost ground. Classes A, B, and C have all gained ground on average occupancy. And the decline for Class D was 20 basis points. So a small decline. Again, improvement from last year even, but just wanted to point out that Class D is sort of in the unique position of being the only one that's still losing some ground on occupancies. Lease concessions broadly and also for stabilized properties specifically have been on a steady uptrend since 2022 at this point. That hasn't changed so far in 2024, although the uptick in the availability of lease concessions in the first 4 months of this year was a little bit smaller than we saw last year. So the speed of that upward trajectory has slowed some, but we are still seeing concessions play a growing role in the market for stabilized properties. As of the end of April, about 18% of conventional stabilized properties were offering a discount for new residents. And I would say in particular, Class C and Class D properties are really leaning on concessions right now as a tool. It's not to say that Class A and Class B are not at a pretty elevated level right now, but for those two price tiers, current availability is still below where we were during the pandemic period. For Class C and Class D, we are already seeing lease concession availability higher now than it was even at the peak of the COVID period. So a little bit of a difference there across the price classes. And again, we're now moving into the stronger part of the calendar for both apartment demand and rent performance. So we may see some of these performance metrics continue to look better month over month in the coming months. And then we'll have to see where we're at as we get into the fall and winter period. Bear in mind to look for ALN Apartment Data across your social media platform of choice. We've got great content all over the place. Our YouTube channel, if that's where you're watching this, please remember to like and subscribe. That really helps us out. In terms of events coming up soon, nothing really coming up over the next 6 to 8 weeks, enjoying a little bit of a summer break, but make sure to check the ALN blog, which is alndata.com/blog, and we'll have some good content coming up there. So have a great week, everybody. Thank you.